Namaste. I'm Dr. Robert, and today on 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert, my subject is the Ancestor Fortnight and what you can do to assist your ancestors. This year's Ancestor Fortnight is about to begin, and the Ancestor Fortnight comes in the autumn of the northern hemisphere because that is the time that the year is starting to move towards its own death. So this is a good time to remember the ancestors who have passed on, who have already terminated their lives. The ancestors influence us strongly, and therefore it is good to have a good relationship with the ancestors so that we can benefit them so they can benefit us. It is, in my opinion and my experience, a very useful thing to do when someone has actually passed on recently to do what is called Pindadona. It's a very particular ceremony that you will need a priest to perform. And there are a lot of rules about when it needs to be performed. But for anyone who's passed on, and that includes anyone who is either blood family or you regard as being part of your family, whether or not you're blood related to them or not, anyone can at any time, but especially during the waning fortnight of the moon, perform what is called Pitru Tarpana. And Pitru Tarpana, the way that my mentor Vimalananda told me to do it, is very simple. You can do it in your house, though if at all possible, please go down to a lake or a stream or the sea or the ocean. If at all possible, face south and bring with you water, milk, and black sesame seeds. If you can't find black, you can take ordinary sesame seeds. They're symbolic. If possible, take a stick of incense with you, sit down, light the incense, and try to do this where you're not going to attract a crowd. And compose your mind and invite your ancestors, and the ones you know in particular, but you can also say great-grandmother and great-grandfather who I do not know. You can invite everyone. Try to visualize the ones that you do know and ask them to sit in front of you. And then for each one that you specifically want to target at that moment, specifically focus on that one and put a little bit of water, a little bit of milk, and a few black sesame seeds into your hand. And then say, I am offering this to you for your trupti, for your satisfaction. And then you can say, trupyatam, trupyatam. So this is a Sanskrit formula. You don't even have to say that if you don't want to, and if you can't say it, but trupyatam, trupyatam. Then you employ a mantra. There are specific mantras, but just employ the mantra that, as Vimalananda said, the one that you regularly repeat, because that'll have the most Shakti in it. Let's just say it's Om Namah Shivaya. Tripyatam, tripyatam, Om Namah Shivaya, Svoboda. And then in between, bend back your finger this way, your index finger this way. In between your thumb and index finger, if you're holding your hand this way, there'll be a little sort of canal created, a little groove, and pour the watermelon and black sesame seeds onto the ground like that as you say Svoboda. Swaha is used for the fire. Svoboda is used specifically for the ancestors. Do this for each ancestor you specifically want to. Then for all the ancestors, say everybody who is my ancestor, everybody who's been forgotten, where if there is a lupta pinda, if there are people who have had all kinds of difficulties and there was akala mrityu and so on, offer another handful for everybody else who you have not specifically remembered, and then say, thank you very much for coming. You were all my ancestors. Now please go to Pitru Loka, go to the world of the ancestors, join with the other ancestors, and be trupta, be satisfied. Let go of all your residual attachments to this world. This is Dr. Robert, wishing all of the ancestors benevolence.